Of Matt Sterling, the head coach of Oakland's Golden Grizzlies. Let's see if we can't bring him in, see if he's ready. Matt, how are you? Welcome. Happy holidays. Welcome back to the show.
Happy holidays, Lou. It's been a long time. How are you?
Oh, okay. There we go. First show of the year, and I forgot to turn my volume up. How are you, Matt? Sorry about that.
Oh, I'm doing fine. It's been a long time. How are you?
I'm good. It's great to see you.
Yeah.
I was looking at your website. Is it true that this is your 7th year coaching? Is that right?
Yeah, a couple of COVID years in there. We'll count those for extra sake. But yeah, what was that? 2018, 2019 when I took over, something like that. So.
Oh my Lord! You and Bob both are in your 7th year coaching, and he's a general manager. Is that right?
That is, yep. He's been kind of right on my side the whole way, and obviously we wouldn't want it any other way. Obviously playing together at 2015, 2016, and then now kind of carrying it on from the guys that built it for us, right? Zach Warson and Troy Barron and that kind of thing. So Pete Gibb was there as well. So just carrying it from that era to this era and onward we go. So
boy, you're bringing out some blasts from the past. Have you talked to Pete Gibb lately at all?
Oh yeah. Him and Warson both in the Friday golf group, if you will. So so see them quite a lot. So
next time you see him, tell him I said hi. Pete's a good guy. I remember he used to come on the show a lot. So you guys ranked number 3 right now in the country. Great first half of the year for you. Tell us a little bit about your first half. Were you surprised by that at all? What stood out to you the most about your success in the first half of the year?
Yeah, I mean, it's a couple things. Obviously, we've got a lot of returners. So we returned pretty much everybody except 4 from last year. So the experience level is huge. At our level, it's you have a little bit of experience, you go a long way. So for us, that's been kind of the first hurdle, if you will. Just how the ACHA changed D3 rankings last year probably changed a little bit of how we operate as well. We with the schedule and stuff, maybe toning it down a little bit. Obviously you've alluded to it already, I think tonight, just with the North or the MCHC, if you play every weekend in that league, you're getting banged up. So it's just something a little bit lighter maybe on the schedule too, but at the same time it's been really good for our kids. So really good semester.
Well, it's not going to be so light for you this semester before the Nationals. I looked at your schedule. My goodness, you got Michigan State this weekend, and then you've got Adrian, and then of course you got Michigan coming up. I mean, it's a gauntlet. I don't care which way you cut it at the D3 level, especially for you guys in that conference, man. It is intense.
And really it's, you talked about it, Michigan State this weekend. Obviously they're somewhere around 10, I believe, at this point, but you're looking at Michigan as well. For us on the east side of things, it's Michigan and Lawrence Tech that generally at the top. But you can't sleep on anybody. Adrian, held in close with a lot of teams already this year. It's every weekend you have to pay attention and be on top. So it's grueling, but it's fun.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I have yet to talk to a coach that says that they wouldn't have it any other way. They'd rather have it playing a tough schedule. You guys just makes you guys so much better when it comes to tournament time.
Yeah, and it's just nice. You expect it year in and year out. Sometimes the players move a little bit, but otherwise it makes it fun and prepares us for hopefully what's in front of us, right? As far as the tournament and everything like that. So,
Matt Sterling, the head coach of Oakland's D3 team, the Golden Grizzlies, ranked 3rd in the country, joining us here on the ACHA Power Play. Matt, you've got Brandon Deneau leading the country right now in scoring with 44 points. But it's not just him. You've got a good balanced attack. You guys have been able to put the puck in the net. I think your goal differential is like 115-30. That's insane.
And obviously just to touch on him for a minute, it's fifth year guy, more determined than ever, to come back and really with a lot of our guys last year just didn't sit quite right. Just being last out for the auto bid spot for a conference championship elsewhere. As far as not making the tournament and not having a lot of guys that left, really spurred that kind of chip on your shoulder mentality. But for him, off to a hot start. You can't really coach some of the things that he does. It's just really impeccable. But wouldn't be without some of his guys too. I mean, Avo, Arbor, McCaddy, those kind of guys that are helping him out. So it really has been kind of a group effort. But he is the main beneficiary at this point as far as the standings go, if you call it for the stats. So.
And I hate singling certain people, just individuals out, because you get to, if you're successful like you guys are, it is obviously a team effort. But I look at somebody like Reese Williams. He's got 13 points as a defenseman, 12 helpers and 1 goal. I mean, it's so well-rounded. I mean, you got 13 guys in double-digit points. I mean, you spread it around nicely.
And that's probably spurred a lot of those top guys' success, right? The years, even in some of the years we've been really good, it's maybe been a little top heavy, right? Where we have to rely on guys to play a lot of minutes. And now with the depth, that's really kicked in. Maybe you could say that's why some of those top guys are having great years. It's because they don't have to play a lot of the major minutes, and by the time they get back out there, they're fresh, and they're probably taking on maybe another team's second or third line, and it's really been beneficial. So that's probably been another added piece. It's just the depth of some of those guys, and really that's kind of what spurred those guys' success.
So then you got the back end. You got Tate Pottinger with a lofty numbers, 8-0, goals against a 1.6. I mean, and then you can go to Evan Hayes and Caleb Godlewski if you want. I mean, that's a difficult problem to have, isn't it?
Yeah, and Tate and Caleb Godlewski are both in the senior realm, so they take a lot of the bulk of the starts. But it kind of that chip on your shoulder mentality was really kind of brought in as both those guys being seniors. It's one of those things where, especially for Pottinger, it's last year feels personal almost. So you just getting to the tournament, getting there is great. That's kind of step one. But the goal in the room is a lot bigger than that. So it's fun to watch. It's fun to watch and just be a part of.
So I got to ask you now, when you played, back, 8-9 years ago or whatever, they had the regional tournaments. Did you ever have to go through that at Oakland, or did you guys always qualify for nationals, like being in the top two?
The year I played, not so much. But for a lot of the years I coached in the beginning, that was how we made it. There would be years, not to single out a certain year, but there'd be years we'd be the 9 or the 10 seed in the North, and really, it really just could, trap or string it together for a weekend and make it out. That was kind of for 2 or 3 years there. That was how we made it. Was based on that regional tournament. Obviously being in that high seed spot of the 9 or 10, you're playing usually 3 and 4 back-to-back nights, and so it was almost, you don't want to say more rewarding, but those were the heydays of really trying to just string a weekend together. And if we could get hot, we could get hot. And that was, I don't want to say it definitely was fun. It was something where all you had to do was win 2 games. You make it, as the 3 or 4 seed in the North. And then, like you've alluded to as well, make the tournament and see what happens. And that was the philosophy for some of those years, was just get there. But that, like I said, it's a different challenge.
And it's funny is I don't want to put the cart before the horse here, but if you do get to nationals, it's crazy, especially the last 4 years that I've noticed going down there and doing the games is I don't care what your seed is. I mean, the ones lose to the 4s, the 2 and vice versa. I mean, it is, the cream of the crop, which, all right, I'm going to blow the horn for the Michigan teams, usually rises, but it's still, I mean, you still got it. You can't take a game off, man, in the national tournament.
And the thing that's really changed maybe for how it all works and everything, it's just, it's with the national seeding and the 16 teams and whatnot. Obviously, there's opportunity where a lot of the North teams or MCHC teams are in the same pool now. So what used to be 1, 2, 3, and 4 spread across the pools, you might have 3 North teams now in one pool, which makes it even more difficult. And that's not to say anything about anyone not in the North. It's more just very familiar faces, very familiar games, and that kind of thing. So yeah.
So I got to ask you now. We talked about this in the first portion of the show tonight. I kind of got off on a tangent about the turnaround time. I got to give you credit, you and your players and the coaching staff. When you find out you're going, again, as a player, you found out you guys had 2 weeks to get your poop in a group, if you will, to get everything lined up, funding, class work, the whole bit. How do you guys do that? That's the part that I think I marvel at the most.
It's chaos. Chaos, let's call it. And having Bob in that GM spot, that's, we kind of joke that that's where his time to shine is, but it's a staff effort. You've got guys that have been with me for a while, but also guys that played either for me or kind of alongside of me a long time ago. So, Tyler Lampman, Logan Ray, those guys, they're there every day. So they know, they know that, okay, we've got about 2 weeks. We try to scrap some fundraising together, whether it's GoFundMe or the school trying to help us out or whatever it is. And then, for some years it was, Frisco, Texas. Other years it was Boston. We were thankful for Columbus, the few years that we had, because it wasn't too bad for us, but
right.
And we haven't had a chance with COVID and then last year to do the St. Louis trip yet, but but hopefully that's kind of on the horizon. So yeah, it is something where logistically for hotels and everything, if you're not really in those top spots, which a lot of years we hadn't been, you're scraping it all together.
It's amazing. It's funny as I'll see some of the coaches that from the teams that make it out of the regional, especially at D2, when they get down there, you can tell they're whipped, and then they still got hockey to play down there. Matt, what do you guys, if there's anything you think your team's got to work on here in the, what I call the sprint part of the schedule to keep your momentum going, what do you think it might be?
Well, the players aren't going to like it, but I'll say it's got to be just either the conditioning or just the day twos. Obviously for us, it's great when we're at home, and most of the time for us, Friday night is a home game. But at Buffalo Wild Wings Arena, it's great where everyone, it's kind of got that good vibes feeling as you're playing. But then getting geared up for day two is probably where we do tend to have a little bit of a letdown or a little bit of a struggle. But down the stretch, that's kind of hopefully something as we continue to hopefully have success is just, okay, start preparing, guys. Like you said, you pool play at nationals, you've got to play 3 no matter what. And you've got to win the pool. So that's something to, obviously take and look as a lesson. And then I believe this year, I'm not sure there's a day off between, if you look further than that, it's really 5 days straight. So, that's something where, they're not going to like it as much maybe down the stretch, but if things keep going well, we're going to probably see a little bit more intensity in that department. So,
and I think a lot of times too, you guys, I don't know if it's a curse or a blessing, is you get to play in that Vezina Cup tournament at the end of the year. And man, and I'll tell you what, that is about as intense as it gets as well, isn't it?
And there's a lot of pride in that, right? Just knowing that you're playing, if you don't play some teams during the year based on being a crossover game or whatnot, it's kind of something that where we're all together, we're all in the same spot. This past few years, the first 2 rounds count for ranking. So, everyone's there trying to, either do a job or try to upset somebody or whatever your scenario is. And then rounds 3 and 4 are after that, but then you're kind of thinking, well, maybe we should try to win this thing. And obviously, that ego and pride gets in the way as well. So yeah, it's got its pros and cons, but I'm all for it. I'm all for it. If you're, especially when you make the semis, if you're in it, you want to win it. So that's definitely it.
Yeah, I remember the first one that I covered was the one you guys won in 2016 when you beat Aquinas, and thinking, man, I didn't know what to expect in that tournament, and you show up there in the semis and the finals. Man, it was like you guys were playing for the Natty. So that was pretty cool, I thought.
Yeah, it's been talked about as far as how to make it better, but it's definitely, even in years where we haven't been able to make the tournament, right, it's still something to kind of go out on a high note for, is trying to win the league championship. And I think that's by design. I think it's been really good. So
what's changed in the play, the style or anything since you were a player, now that you've been coaching for 7 years? Is it different? Is it more, is it any more intense? Is it the level of play better? I mean, how's it changed?
It's interesting. It's interesting. It's, and going from 1 year in between playing and then coaching, even to see from year one to now, kind of the difference in kids and the difference of style of play has been really interesting. You see now, I think kids maybe in general are individually more talented. The game is much faster, quicker, even probably bigger and stronger than when we played, as far as, back even almost 10 years ago now. But the thing too is really hockey IQ sometimes a little different, right? They think the game differently than how you're used to coaching maybe. And really, you see a lot more just run and gun, dump and chase type of stuff. Possession is not necessarily the end all be all, maybe where it was years ago. And that's something you see almost automatically, whether it's, you bring in kids, whether it's from juniors or high school or wherever it may be, that's what you see a lot of the time. So.
One of the things that I've noticed in the last couple of years, 2-3 years, is like from when I first started covering, you used to see some teams with one or two guys that would be head and shoulders above everybody else, points wise or goal scoring wise. I don't see that. It's more like with you guys, it's more the wealth is spread a lot more with the good teams anyways,
Mm-hmm.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, that's, I think, really just been a product of the growth of the level, right? I think you've got a lot of kids in Michigan, no matter where you are, but really just a lot of kids that are whether that is top end high school kids, maybe tier 3 junior, that want to stay close to home, and you're seeing that maybe is the option of, okay, I have a chance to play in national tournaments. My high school team wasn't very good. High school, the kid could put up 40, 50 points, but his team's not any good, right? So like he's never had a chance to maybe even have that experience. And then you're talking, okay, well, it's a level that I can compete at and be successful, and at the same time, have a chance to win something on a bigger scale. That's those kids now, I think, is what you're kind of seeing as the draw, and you're seeing the level slowly get better. A lot of times in those depth spots, second, third line, fourth line, that kind of thing. So that's just kind of the landscape around our area, at least Michigan, and whatnot. You see it with Hope and Calvin and all these schools. So.
Well, Matt, this has been fun. I appreciate you taking time out tonight to be with us. Congratulations on a great start. I know your work is not finished. Good luck this weekend. Is Don Headley still coaching for Michigan State, or is he kind of
he's in the GM role, I would say.
Okay.
Rem Murray is the coach over there now.
He still is, okay.
Yep. So they're in tandem, kind of work together as far as what they have going on over there, and obviously, for them, it's you got 40,000 kids to pick from at Michigan State. So, they're always competitive. It's always going to be a good battle for us. So.
Well, the reason I asked is last year, I think it was when they were in the tournament, I was broadcasting one of their games down in St. Louis. And I said, Rem took over, and Don texted me. He's giving me he was giving me the business. He says, I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. So if you see him there this weekend, Sunday, maybe at Munn, tell him I said hi, would you?
Will do. Yep. And he's still present.
That's awesome. So. Matt, again, thanks for coming on. It's always fun catching up with you. Good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. We'll see you down in St. Louis, and also maybe we'll be able to see you over at the Vezina Cup tournament come the end of February. Definitely.
Thank you for having me on. And if we're in St. Louis and we've got a steak dinner, we've got a plate for you.
Boy, that sounds good. You heard that up there. All right. Sounds great. Thanks, Matt. Enjoy the rest of your season, and we'll talk to you real soon.
Sounds good. Thank you for your time.